Hello everybody, welcome back to Expedition Homestead. Today is going to be a highly anticipated episode on our tomato plants. Specifically, how we trellis them, how we stake them, and how we prune them. So if that sounds exciting for you, I think you guys should stay tuned for this episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got tomatoes back here. We've got tomatoes in the 5-gallon buckets over here. And there's several different varieties as well, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's check them out. We're going to start with the trellising method first, using a single string coming down from our trellises that you see over here. We've got a single hemp string dropping down from those, and I'm going to show you guys the exact products that we use to stake up our tomato plants along those lines. So we've got a 8-foot trellis here built for these tomato plants. We've got a couple of beefsteak varieties, some purple Cherokees, some Rutgers tomatoes, and then a super sweet 100. It's very important to note if these are indeterminate or determinate varieties. These all specifically are indeterminate varieties of tomatoes, meaning that they're going to keep on growing and growing. So hopefully by the end of the growing season, we've got tomato plants almost all the way up to the top of here. 8-foot tall tomato plants is what we're shooting for. Out of these varieties, the only one that's struggling a little bit is our purple Cherokee tomato, or Cherokee purple tomato, excuse me. That's that one right there. Has a little bit of leaf curl, and then this one here as well. So I guess I'm gonna have to make a video on leaf curl and the different causes and remediations for that as well, but that's a different video. All of the rest of the tomatoes are doing so great. So I'm going to show you guys what we use to stake these up here with this trellising method. This is a product you can buy at many different garden centers. You can buy them online as well. All we have to do to use this product here is take our tomato vine and put this clip onto the string like so. Close it around the tomato. It snaps shut, and from there it's going to continue to keep growing along that single point. Yes, we do have to talk about how I prune these tomatoes specifically to get them growing on a single stem, which is really important to produce some huge tomatoes. But before we do that, I'm going to go over to our tomatoes that we're growing in these 5-gallon buckets here that are more what you would call staked, not trellised, and show you how we're tying these up into a single stem. So the tomatoes we have in 5-gallon buckets, we are also growing them in a single stem, pruning them all. And what we'll do with this one is we just got that hemp string, and we're going to be tying the string periodically along the stake that we have inside the bucket on this one. And then some of the other ones, we just screwed it right into the side of that bucket. If you haven't grown tomatoes in 5-gallon buckets before, I highly suggest it. It is a great way to grow, and these are all doing so well. We've already got, as you can tell, a bunch of different tomatoes growing, and it's pretty early in the season, so I think we will have a great harvest in no time. Some of these are about 4 feet tall as well. So that's how we stake them, how we trellis them. Now let's show you guys how you want to prune your tomatoes so they can give you the best possible harvest. If we don't prune our tomatoes, they're going to keep growing and growing into gigantic plants producing lots of leaves but little fruit for us. Ultimately, the end goal is producing fruit, not leaves. And that's why we prune indeterminate varieties, because otherwise they'll just grow and vine out like nobody's business. And we want to stop that because we want to produce flowers and fruit instead. On the very same tomato plant that we showed you guys how to attach to the string is giving us a really good opportunity to show you how to prune. This right here, you see, is kind of growing in the crotch of the tomato vine. So we're going to have the vine coming up. There's going to be an offshoot of leaves, and then there's going to be offshoots of flowers. obviously the flowers are going to be producing our fruit, and the leaves are going to be providing energy to the plant. But right in the crotch here, this is a sucker. This is what we do not want to grow, because this will grow into an entire plant. If you want to propagate tomato plants, you can propagate them using these suckers. But if you're growing for fruit, take this off, throw it out in your compost, get rid of it, because that will grow into a whole nother vine, which is not what we want, since we're growing these tomatoes in a single stem fashion. If you look right here, this is a sucker that's been growing for about a week. I didn't catch this one early on, so I have to actually use the clippers for these. Clip those off, throw that in the compost, and then the plant will continue growing happy and healthy. Another thing that you want to avoid when growing these tomatoes is low hanging leaves. So as time goes on, what I will do is prune these off, especially one way down there. That's going to turn into a whole nother tomato plant. That's a sucker that came up from down below. So trim all this up. There we go. So we don't have any growth in that first foot of the tomato stem. These leaves will continue growing up. It's going to push all of the nutrients and growth into the actual fruit. And then by not having leaves close to the ground, we're going to avoid contact with the earth or contact with the soil, which could then introduce different diseases to your tomato. That is how you single stem a tomato plant. That's a beauty right there. It's going to produce some awesome fruit and hopefully grow all the way up to there. Thank you all so much for watching. As you can see, the garden is doing wonderfully. So happy with all the results that we're seeing so far. We've got several different harvests ready as well. We've got beets that are ready to harvest, kohlrabi that's almost ready. We already harvested our radishes. Some peas are ready, and then broccoli is going to be ready before you know it as well, and same with the carrots. So excellent progress here. If you guys enjoyed today's video and have not yet done so, please subscribe. We've got a ton of awesome content for you guys year round here in Wisconsin, indoors and outdoors. We kind of cover it all. With that being said, happy gardening, and I hope I see you all in the next episode.